a very important part of an individual's career, whether you're a man or a woman. In fact, mentors has been recognised by organisations now as an important part of career development for at least the last 10 years. So much so that many organisations have now introduced mentoring programs for their high potential individuals. And some organisations have introduced mentoring programs specifically for women. On the other hand, when you look at the statistics in organisations, nothing's really changed. We're still not seeing more women progressing into senior roles. So whilst some organisations are doing great things around mentoring, and there are examples of individual women who do make it to the top, there's really not a significant change in terms of where women are progressing in organisations or how far up they're progressing. So it does raise the question of whether or not formal mentoring programs work. The interesting thing is that the women profiled in the book Sideways to the Top all had mentors, but none of them were involved in formal, structured mentoring programs. Instead, what they did is they identified their own mentors. They looked for individuals within organisations who could support them and help them, individuals who were powerful. They were often men because there are more men in powerful positions, but sometimes they were women as well. They used these mentors as sounding boards so that when a big decision had to be made, they would go to these mentors. They'd seek their advice. Those mentors in return would advocate for them, support them and sponsor them. And that's the way that individuals in Sideways to the Top used mentors very effectively. It's not that formal organisationally organised mentoring programs don't work, it's just that choosing the right mentor is so important, and it needs to be more of a natural choice rather than an artificial participation in an organisationally sponsored program. A good example of mentoring at work is with Anne Godwin. She's one of the women profiled in the book Sideways to the Top. She's now the Merit Protection Commissioner at the Australian Public Service. But previously she worked for the Australian Stock Exchange. And when she was there was a senior executive who took Anne under his wing. He realised her potential and he gave her lots of opportunities, encouraged her to stretch herself, and gave her some great opportunities at the Australian Stock Exchange that otherwise wouldn't have existed if they didn't have that relationship. And I guess that's one of the keys to mentoring, building that natural relationship with an individual so that the mentoring relationship works effectively. The final thing about mentoring is to ensure that you're good at your job, because it's much easier to find a mentor and it's much easier to have somebody support you and sponsor you if you've got a good track record, if you're noticed, and if you can basically just do a good job. So that's number one, do a good job, make sure that you can list a lot of achievements, make sure you can make a difference in the organisation, and then mentors will appear. People will be much more prepared and willing and eager to support you than if you're unknown and if you don't have that record of achievement.